Tell me, though, what's his technique? That last strike, it seems invincible.
Hello and welcome to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. My name is Connor.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we're back to Deadly Hands of Kung Fu 23 with the Bird of Fire saga. Part 5 out of 6? I thought this was the last part, but it's not.
It's a fairly long saga.
It's part 5, and to be honest, I'm kind of over it.
I quite like this one, so yeah.
Because it's like, I think it was really interesting with like, when there was like a mystery, I think it was more interesting than... Now that everything's explained, I find it less interesting.
I guess so. I just kind of want to see how it wraps up, but I suspect it'll be a fairly perfunctory wrap-up to get us back to the status quo.
Yeah, I mean, it's so... So, honestly, not much happens this issue. Like, basically, again, like, read this issue if you want, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu 23. Basically what happens in this issue is he fights Silver Dragon, we get revealed who she is, and then...
Yep.
Like, it's set up for the next issue, and we have a couple of other things happen. But yeah, so I don't know how long this episode will take, honestly, but it's great artwork again, and I like
it. Is some great artwork. There's a really fantastic, massive splash page,
and it feels so old school. Like it
is
so
old.
Like, you know. Jeez, it's been a long time since I've read The Phantom, but it feels like The Phantom or The Shadow, like, you know, like that Iron Fist logo, Bridge of Sorrow, Bridge of Pain, and it's just so retro, I guess.
I mean, I guess some of that is because we get a very extended look at his origin again.
Yeah, but it's just the way that Iron Fist is drawn in that, like, top corner, and just the whole, I don't know, the whole feel of this, and it's not a comparison.
I mean, it is old school, so that makes sense.
But, like, old school for the time, you know?
Yes.
Like, so it feels... And it's not the first time I've made this comparison, either, with this era of Iron Fist. Specifically, like, the Death Cult was a big one back in the day. But, like, the artwork's great. And we get...
some really interesting stuff going on.
So, Iron Fist fights Silver Dragon. We get, like, a recap at the start. He basically, I mean, it's pretty even, but he generally has like the upper hand. Like, I feel like he's gonna win. And he gets distracted because Dasha Khan
goes after
Jade.
Firebird. What's her name? Jade. Yep. The love of his life currently.
Yes, which means he gets kicked in the back of the head by Silver Dragon. He's hanging off the edge, and she reveals who she is, and I'm like, I hope it's not who I think it is, but we kind of knew.
It's absolutely who you thought it was, yeah.
It was Heather, and initially I was like, for God's sake, this has plummeted, but then they explain it, and it actually makes sense.
And and I don't know if this is the only time we get an explanation for why he was called Daniel Thomas Rand. So, if not, that was kind of nice to see. Or if I've forgotten, like, I always knew that was his name. But because we're getting the origin story from his mother's point of view.
Yeah, I love his Daniel Thomas, middle name, for her father because it sounded nice, Rand.
Yeah, Daniel because it sounded nice, Thomas for her, father, yeah.
It's the way they sort of put that in brackets, like in the middle, Daniel Thomas Rand.
But I quite like that because I don't think we've had it explained before, so that was sort of adding something new to me. But yeah, it does make sense. Like, it's not... I mean, God, like, the number of his family members who've been, like,
I mean,
corrupted by all of this, you know.
It reminded me of Ghost Rider in the 70s, like, the first initial run on, what do you call it? The first initial run on Marvel... I don't think it was Marvel Premiere, Marvel Spotlight, I think, and then the first few issues. Like, they did this thing in the 70s with these new characters. Like, you had your origin, but it wasn't sacred. They wouldn't spend, like, they would bring characters back from the dead that, like, it's like if you had Batman's parents dead and then they'd come back in hell and fight them, like, a few issues later. Like, that's kind of what it's like with Ghost Rider and Iron Fist. Like, they both had characters die in their origins that came back very quickly in cases like this. Like, they weren't you know, they
That
didn't have an
page
origin
where,
that was treated as sacred.
Yeah, that page where she's revealed has got some really funky sort of ghosting of Iron Fist as he fights, like the artwork.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like you watch him do a tumble, and it's kind of got almost a sketch of him doing the tumble.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And so the reason this actually makes sense, because I was ready to slam this, but it actually makes sense because she died in proximity to Kunlun, and that's why she ended up down here. Like, she's the only outsider that's down, because, like, as the previous issues established, people from Kunlun end up here when they die, and I'm assuming the other heavenly cities, maybe. And so
let's assume.
That's how she ended up down here. And, you know, so the next time we see Heather is a Force Ghost in Wolverine, Return of Kunlun. I couldn't be bothered to like cross-reference that because it wasn't a great story, and we'll be covering that soonish on the podcast, so we'll talk about it then. But I did cross-reference this with Living Weapon.
Yeah.
And, you know, Living Weapon also taking place in the Chinese Hell, and Heather Rand also appearing, but it doesn't break continuity with this, surprisingly.
Oh, that's cool.
Like,
yeah, that is cool.
It's jarring, but there's like a couple of, like, they don't reference this, but this still could have happened in between.
Yeah, because this is from her point of, like, this is her filling in the gaps.
Yeah,
I like the whole, like, the whole, like, Dasha Kart, like, being, why are you even here? You're not on our list.
Yeah, and that's when they explain, like, how she came down here.
It's very cool.
Because in Living Weapon, when he confronts her, it's like, A, it could be symbolic, B, he's confronting her about, like, or she's confronting him, and it's like, you know, I set you on the path of vengeance. I told you to avenge me before I died, which, like, messed you up. And then that's when they sort of have peace with each other. So again, like, it's not contradicting this. And there's even a part where he's like, this is the first time I've been in this version of hell, he says, in Living Weapon. So there could be multiple Chinese hells. Like, it's a very stretchy thing, but it can work.
But it could work, yeah.
Because of that like, one line, you know? Because I don't think, as far as I remember, Danny has only been in Chinese hells. I don't think he's been in any other ones. So...
except probably in Damnation. Where did he fight Miranda?
Damnation. But that was after Living Weapon.
That was, but I don't think that wasn't a Chinese version of hell. That
was the Mephisto
hell, yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. But yeah. So, and she's kind of lost and in despair in this afterlife because she's like an outsider, and then she's easy prey to Dasha Khan, who essentially like takes her and turns her into a thrall. Not a slave, a thrall. Like he dominates her mind, basically.
Turns
and I'm
her into
assuming
his bodyguard.
yeah, just like it was a pretty opportune thing, and I think like you know, he deliberately did it as well because he knew that she was the mother of Iron Fist, or a future Iron Fist, and he wanted to destroy Kunlun, so he's like, hey, I'll turn her into a tool that'll help me destroy Kunlun. And I was like, wow, they actually made it make sense, because I was so ready to slam it as some cheap reveal, you know, like just for drama, and then I'm like, oh, but they actually managed to explain it, so that like cancels it out, and I was very surprised.
I do love the whole him hanging off the ledge is also reminiscent of his dad.
Yeah, because she has him on the ledge.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that might have helped trigger her love conquers her programming.
Yeah, I think
love the damn your harlot soul to hell. I'm sure you wouldn't get that in a modern comic.
He's a bad guy.
I know, it's great.
So that's how I took it when she had him on the ledge, and he's like, "Don't kill me," and then I think that's when she clicked. That's how I.
Yeah, I think it's not just him; it's also the exact replica of how like her husband died.
And it's funny, they don't actually show it side by side like you'd expect them to. Like, you just sort of
like they often do, yeah. Cause
you're expected to
so many times. Like,
put it together yourself, which is rare to not be spelled out in like a 70s comic. So, And can I just talk about how great... So there's a double-page spread where Heather is remembering...
Oh, it's amazing.
When she winds up in Hell, and, like, there's this big skeleton kind of Iron Fist, and it looks awesome.
As if he's holding up the page. It's really good.
It's... I guess that's, like, the death we saw earlier, maybe? Like,
maybe. I mean, it's just... I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be, but it is incredible.
Yeah, so...
I mean, it's definitely the Danny one because it's got the brand on the chest. So.
Yeah, I mean, the artwork is just really, really good.
The paneling there, just some odd panel shapes. It works very well.
And if you look up Heather Rand on the wiki, her death and this story are the only things that are mentioned, not Return of Kunlun and not Living Weapons. So this is
interesting.
Like, quote unquote. I mean, it's all.
Someone needs to get to that
article
wiki and do some updating.
You go, Omar.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So, yeah, you know, and so that's she like lets him get up and they have a hug and he's like, Mom, and she's like, Daddy, and of course, Dasha Khan kills her because you know we knew this was going to happen, and like he kills her with like a crystal. And she falls into...
the crystal is like what he trapped her soul in or something, so...
I think she falls off the bridge. It's a bit hard to tell.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it looks like she... Yeah, no, I think she does.
If she does fall off the bridge, that means
He raises the crystal to zap her, and then she jumps in front of Danny, so she saves his life again, and then I think... Then she's at his feet, and then... Does she fall off? I don't know.
It's hard to tell, but
it's hard to tell.
If she falls off, that means she's dead forever. Like, there's no afterlife. But I'm gonna say she doesn't fall off because she pops up again in Living Weapon. So.
Yeah, the last time we see her, she's just at his feet.
Yeah.
I think.
So I think it's easy to explain away. Yeah. Not that we need to, but I've taken it upon myself to be the keeper of this canon. So, I mean. He's been in Chinese Hell 3 times now, and like each time, like it acted like it was the first time. So it's just it bears noticing. So yeah, then Danny dodges his next laser beam from the crystal, and they start fighting. But what he does is he's like, you know, if you want to fight me or if you want to kill me, you'll have to do it on my terms. The battleground of my choosing, and they go to Earth. And Danny's like, no, because he's a spectre, he's a ghost, whereas Dasha Khan is a physical form, so Danny can't fight him. And
so this would be interesting.
The next issue is the final duel, and we also missed Bowman led an assault and
I like that.
Destroyed Dasha Khan's fortress. Like they won.
I like Bowman. He reminds me a bit of Swordsman, but I like Bowman.
I do,
he
a little bit.
He seems to look the same and do the same kind of thing, but you know.
Yeah, I mean Bowman's fine, despite the uninspired name. It's
a really uninspired name. He's, you know, he looks very Green Arrow, but with dark hair. And,
could have been a cooler character, but I understand keeping things simple. It's like they weren't trying to make another superhero or anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly. He wasn't going to live past, or he wasn't going to be useful past this.
But that's pretty big. Like, their forces have taken out Dasha Khan's stronghold, so really Dasha Khan's the only thing left, which leads us to the final duel next issue. And it's funny because earlier in the issue, just in my notes, Dasha Khan's like, even as a spirit, you cannot kill, because like Danny's able to kill Silver Dragon at one point. And I'm like, hasn't Danny already killed people in this very story arc? Or am I like, did I just misinterpret? You know, because they looked pretty lethal, what he was doing, so... But then they inserted the superhero thing, and I'm like, oh, that's disappointing, because I don't think it mattered in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. So, you know, like, if we're looking at this from a non-comics code authority type of thing, I really don't think there's a reason Iron Fist wouldn't kill in self-defense, at least. Like, I don't think there would be any moral quandary.
No, I don't think so either.
At all. like maybe moral commentary for executing someone and killing someone who's defenseless, which might be like what happened there. But killing someone in a fight or in self-defense, I don't think should be a problem for Iron Fist.
No, I don't think so either.
You know, so yeah.
I don't think that's on him.
Yeah, but anyway, that was the issue. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good fun read. But you're right. I mean, the core of it is just the reveal and you know, like Jade just kind of whining a bit, like, oh no,
oh, shit,
Danny. I mean, like she's barely present except to sort of be a bit more damsel in distressy, and to distract Danny, I guess, when Dasha Khan comes after her.
It was a very Danny and Heather / Silver Dragon issue.
Yeah.
So it's good that they like diverted a whole thing to resolving that though, because that was kind of like, I didn't know if that was going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So again, like,
and I really did enjoy it. Like, it was just, there's just not a lot to talk about it because it is what it is.
I'm enjoying it. It's still good, but it's long. And now, like, the issues have gone from being 12 pages, like, they're full-sized issues now, these stories. So it's very long, and it's a bit messy. It's less messy now that everything's explained, but I'm ready for it to be over.
Yeah.
So, but it looks like it will be over next
It looks
issue.
like, one more and then over.
Yeah. And after that, if the gang comes together, we're going to continue Heroes for Hire. If the gang doesn't, we'll continue Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. There's no new Iron Fist, thankfully.
Yeah, we've heard nothing of Iron Fist, not in any solicits or anything.
Yes. So
I was talking with someone the other day about how, like, you know, so it's kind of a shame they never did more with Vic, the new Power Man. Like, and I don't know, the introduction of the new Iron Fist didn't seem to be as welcomed with open arms as they may have thought it would have been, because that could have been an interesting pairing.
It was welcomed in open arms by idiots like Gizmodo, who don't read Iron Fist comics and just go, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, they also don't buy them because they get them free. I mean, it's just like, I don't know if the sales have come out yet, I don't know what they're like, but even people I know who like the beginning of it, or who like the idea of Lin Lee as Iron Fist, didn't really gel with the mini.
Because it just, regardless of...
I just don't think the writing was very tight, and, you know, like, I don't know, I still can't get over the fact that we have Pei. Like, that we've always had Pei for a long time as this kind of, you know, since Living Weapon. We've got our next Iron Fist, you know, all lined up, all female, Asian, you know, it's just like, there just doesn't seem any need in, like, to sort of make Swordmaster happen.
No,
like,
it was done.
I don't see what he brings that Pei doesn't.
I mean, I could go over all that again.
There's no point. It's just I'm only going into it because I know this is going to be a short episode.
As I've mentioned before, if it was Pei, it still would have been too early, and I would have rejected it. But
right, I agree. But you know what I mean. But like, there seems to be like
they wanted the non-white.
I feel like doubly
Iron
like
Fist.
I don't understand why that happened.
Yeah,
like, because...
I mean, they wanted the Iron Fist that wasn't Danny, wasn't white, and they had one there, and they didn't use it.
And she's female as well. Like, she ticks even another box.
Yeah.
And like, and I find, like, as a woman, I guess I'm going, like, I don't understand why we went to a character that a lot of people didn't know anyway. It's like, it's not like he was like super popular. And they were like, ooh, let's, you know, like when we like, you know, oh, well, they only put Iron Fist and Power Man together at first because they needed to boost the popularity of both. And it's just like, Lin Lee wasn't popular. It wasn't like, this will revive the character. So I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. Like, but we'll see. But I am glad that we've not heard any more of him.
There might have been some reason that they did want to boost Swordmaster. I don't know what it would have been, but I think that may have been a factor, because otherwise it makes no sense.
It has to have been, because otherwise it makes no sense.
They must like Swordmaster, because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. So,
but it makes no. It still makes no sense to me, I guess.
And irregardless of all of this, it just wasn't good. It was a mess. It was confusing. It was boring. It was So
the art wasn't amazing.
No, I thought the art. It was okay. I thought it was better in some parts than others.
Grew on me, and it was better in some parts, but it wasn't enough to like go must have. At least the art's good, which is kind of how I feel about what was the one before that where Danny gives it up. I can't remember the name, but I loved the art and the colouring at least. So, like that had something to pull me, to keep me. I mean, look, story-wise, obviously not, but
I want to not only burn that comic, but burn Larry Hama. No, you didn't hear that on this podcast. On the next issue of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, we have an Iron Fist cover. We haven't had one for a while.
Oh, I'm going to have a look. Let me have a look.
It's one I've seen before. In fact, it's on the back of the trade.
Oh, yes, it is.
That's the picture they use, yeah. And it's a pretty cool cover.
It's a pretty cool cover.
And
Cataclysmic climax. Iron Fist fights for the fate of the world. All new battle for the bird of fire.
I mean, it's true. Like, they're not exaggerating, I guess. The stakes are pretty high. Yeah. So it'll be good to read the conclusion of this and, sort of... Yeah, because this has been a big story arc.
The special feature, Iron Fist pull-out centerfold.
Ooh.
I'm going to go look at that.
Yeah, I wonder how much it's worth on the old eBay.
Probably a lot.
I doubt it.
I bet Omar and Thingy have it, and Carl have it.
Oh,
it's pretty nice. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's nice if you don't take into account the postage for Australia.
I haven't looked on eBay. I'm looking at the poster.
So $22 Australian dollars, which is pretty good, but plus 32 postage from the United States. So it's like that's always what screws us in Australia. Is the postage from the US is insane.
At the moment, our international post is down.
Oh my god.
Like literally.
Yeah. Well, sorry for the short episode and sorry for the delay. Rebecca was away, and I was. So we're back now though. And again, if you have any thoughts about anything, leave us feedback, shoot us an email, as I mentioned in our outro.
Tell us what you think about Iron Fist and what's going on, and if you hear any Iron Fisty rumours.
Oh my god. Don't let me know. Send it to someone else.
No, let me know. Do not let Connor know. Let me know.
I had to...
and I will screen them and tell them to him in a calm way that he can...
Someone messaged me directly, and he's a really nice guy, but he messaged me directly about, Iron Fist rumors. I'm like, I told him, just message Omar, because I can't handle it. It's, too much. But Omar's all over it, so...
Connor just needs to, chill about it.
I can't handle it.
I understand.
I'm happy there's no Iron Fist use. They should just kill the character. I'm not kidding. Kill him. Please.
Except, the only thing that annoys me about it, a little bit, is that Luke Cage is now mayor, right?
Yeah.
I would like to see Danny occasionally, Just say hi.
Just kill them all. I don't care. Blow up the Marvel universe.
That was me about the new Ant-Man film. I'm like, I hope they all die.
Oh,
bless you.
Yeah. So, make mine DC. Have you heard of Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast?
Yeah, go listen to Last Sons of Krypton.
Fun times over there. So, until next time, may your fists become a thing of jade. And don't fight your mother.
I hope your mum doesn't try and kill you.
I know, but learn some really awesome karate. And yes, I know it's kung fu, but I'm choosing karate.
Okay.
So don't accuse me of being like Jeff Loeb or whatever.
No, it's like me. I'm being rubbish.
Yeah. All right. See us.
Bye.
Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want really. Doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist. If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, The Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon. Our Twitter, at Iron Fist Podcast. Our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon, hyphens where the spaces are. Our YouTube, Connor Carl. Just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section, and last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikorsky for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.